Good morning, everybody. We'll go ahead and call the Sawyer County Traffic Safety Committee meeting to order. Everybody knows each other here. Welcome, Jason. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. The pledge of allegiance to the flag and the to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice. We'll go ahead and review and approve the minutes. I'll kind of summarize here a little bit about what we talked about last quarter. We didn't have any old business. New business was continued discussion about traffic safety on 63 by the old park movie theater there. Carolyn Perry discussed that, concerns about speeding and engine braking there. There was discussion with the city. I know John McHugh talked quite a bit about it. Dan Contos went over the data mapping and the additional lots issues there. Preliminary statewide numbers first quarter. We talked about the Sawyer County reported crashes. 75 crashes, 10 crashes resulted in injuries. Review of the first quarter statistics, year end to date. In Sawyer County, we had one fatality crash, or I'm sorry, year to date. We had one fatality at that time. Legislative updates. Talked about second quarter driver safety campaign, third quarter driver safety campaign. Talked about nominations for Mad Heroes and talked about the 2025 Governor's Conference at Kalahari, which was last week. Several openings left for drug recognition expert training for September 30th and October 31st. Community maps. Reminder to all law enforcement on the importance of reporting motorcycle crashes. And then talking about federal grant funding allocation. Roundtable. Haney talked about rumble strips. Sergeant A.D. talked about there's no trooper assignments to your county yet, but one will be assigned to Bolton, Inspector, and Washburn. Chief Taylor mentioned that the staffing levels were low. They will be getting 2 officers in the next week or so. At that time, not much for applicants. Kerry Saban talked about 5 new buses in service, and they went to a new graphics. Ian Lipinski talked about the upcoming Cranberry Fest road closures. Pino talked about updates on road closures and road constructions, which included Main Street Winter, County G, on Highway B between 27 and Chippewa Trail, County W is meeting with the DNR regarding the one-lane bridge down by Connors Creek, remilling on 27 by the old Quick Trip, completing tree cleanup on highways from the latest storms, and mentioned that there will be many utility contractors working in the area. Chris talked about when working with utility companies on road or sidewalk closures and issuing permits. They will be reaching out to county highway commissioners and law enforcement. Lieutenant Kapinski talked about federal grants that we had received. Chief Sedaris talked about National Night Out, which was the first Tuesday in August here, and our cops and bobbers event. And mentioned that we're in the final stages of getting our block cameras up and using the whole system. Chief Selinsky mentioned that they have temporary 6 block cameras set up in the city of Hayward. I mentioned about the asphalt pavement there between Radisson and Tipa, 2770, discussion about that, and then brought up further concerns about congestion on the roadway there before school hours on 27 and Mark. With that, if there are no additional deletions or corrections, I entertain motion to approve the motion. Motion by Andy, second by Steve. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. We have no old business, nothing on the agenda for new business. So I'll turn it over to Dan. First traffic crash and data mapping.
You. Let me share with you. So we are halfway through the third quarter. Here. Into the danger zone for Christmas shop. Yeah. We're gonna start again. Really last minutes. Looking at the second quarter. I just need that reminder. We are halfway through the third quarter, so looking back at the second quarter and how that treated us. First, at the statewide level, we are looking at 29,000 crashes. Of course, these are preliminary numbers. They'll adjust 1 or 2, over time. But those 29,000 crashes resulted in 8,000 injuries in the second quarter, 133 fatalities. It's more than that. That's always a lagging indicator, but that just kind of gives you an idea. You can also see the 5 years worth of previous history for second quarter. So again, it's April, May, and June. So we're doing an apples to apples comparison. Our 5-year fatality average, as a reminder, last time I told you was 584. We are currently on track to come in right around there. We've experienced, as of this morning, 324 fatal crashes, resulting in 346 fatalities. So unfortunately, we're not seeing a drastic reduction in that as well. When we look at the first and second quarter statewide, just under 60,000 total crashes reported to DOT, 15,000 injuries, fatalities 244 for those 2 quarters. So we're historically about where we would expect to be statewide. At the county level, for all departments and jurisdictions reporting into DOT, we are showing no surprises for us. So on this chart, what you see on the left-hand side, the dark blue numbers are the second quarter numbers for 2025. The light blue numbers is an average of the previous 5 years worth of second quarter data. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the percentage change. So as you go down not only the number of crashes, but the severity of the crashes, we're right where we expect to be. So right now we've got no red flags, but we also don't have any great reason to cheer either. It's just a typical day historically, at least in the near term. Looking at some of the other driver behaviors out there, really none of those stick out much. One of the things that we've seen is statewide is that for some reason during the second quarter, these are the numbers for 65 and older drivers, their crashes have gone up, and can't tell you why. but they have. And you can see here we're about really where we would expect for them to be. Teen drivers up a little bit. We are in the 100 deadliest days of summer, so we do expect that number, the number for the teen driver crashes, to go up for the third quarter as they historically do. Otherwise, everything is right about where we would expect them to be. Looking at some of the other roadway users, other than those Class D vehicles, we did have one pedestrian that was struck in the second quarter. A couple extra motorcycle crashes than we usually see. Commercial motor vehicles, 3 crashes. We typically, historically, have seen a couple, but no bicyclists struck. We haven't had a bicyclist struck in the second quarter in the last 5 years. Looking at some of the other crash flags, the number one type of crash for us are those single unit lane departure crashes. So a vehicle leaves its designated lane, typically runs off the road and runs into something, collides into something, a ditch, culvert, tree, that kind of thing. That continues to be the number one type of crash for us, as it was in the past, and we would expect to see that. Intersection crashes, about where we would expect to see them as well, and no work zone crashes, so it's good to see that. Looking at the first and second quarter, if we put both of them together, so for the first 6 months of 2025, statistically, we're right where we expect to be. So just like with the state, we are a microcosm here in the county. We are historically where we would expect those crashes to be. No red flags, nothing stands out, nothing that is screaming for attention for us. It is, I don't want to say business as usual, because every one of those crashes impacts somebody, but it is historically what we expect to see. Year to date, we have had 2 fatalities reported into DOT, one of which happened in the second quarter. So we'll take a look at that after the slides. Our 5-year average is 5, so we can expect to have 5 fatalities during a particular year. We only have 2. I mean, it is 2. I don't want to say only, but it would be nice if we didn't have any more. So if I could put that request in now. Looking at legislative updates, if any of these proposals grab your attention, feel free to stop me, and we can talk in particular about that. The biennium is well underway. There's lots of traffic safety related legislation that is turning its way through the legislature. There was no action last week on anything, but the proposals have all made it out to the committees, and there are some public hearings that are happening this week on a number of them. A couple of proposals to allow law enforcement to impound vehicles for specific traffic offenses. Those are out there for consideration. SB 136 is one of several proposals that affect school buses. This one would allow school buses to be equipped with a white or amber lamp that illuminates their back tires, which is different from the indicator lamps that are on the back of the bus. That would allow the bus driver to better see if there is somebody, especially a child, near their back tires, which would help to eliminate the tragedy that we had down south last year where a child was run over. There's the annual proposal to adjust the ignition interlock device statute, which would require drivers to have 18 months worth of ignition interlock when they're convicted of an impaired driving offense rather than the 12 months they have now. SB 399 would allow ATVs and UTVs to be heavier on our highways. Right now is a 3,000 pound limit. This would allow UTVs to go to 3,500 pounds because 3,000 isn't big enough. SB 345 would adjust the way we react to pedestrians and crosswalks, both marked and unmarked. Right now, the statute says that we yield to pedestrians in a crosswalk. This would require motorists to stop for pedestrians when they're in a crosswalk, which would fundamentally change the way we do business. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. SB 375. I like to say that in Spain every year they have the running of the bulls. In Milwaukee they have the running of the red lights. So this is the biannual attempt to allow for red light cameras and speed cameras in cities of the first class, which is the city of Milwaukee, as a 5-year pilot project. Seems to have a little bit more steam this year than in previous years, so we will watch that and see how that goes. And then there are a few proposals that are working their way through the Legislative Reference Bureau trying to get some additional sponsors on board, 3 of which have to do with school buses. Requirement for half an hour school bus education in driver's ed, specify that. Allowing drivers who are 70 and older to have a 4-year renewal on their school bus license endorsement rather than the 2 years it is now, because there is such a shortage of school bus drivers. And to allow school buses to be equipped with cameras for traffic and security reasons, and then special rules over sharing that information publicly. So those are working their way through, as well as a proposal to require the move over slow down law to apply to all disabled vehicles on the side of the roadway, not just the specified vehicles with flashing lights. So we'll keep an eye on all of those. And as always, the legislative updates are on the Community Maps website that you can check those every week. We update that to let you know about traffic safety related proposals as well as law enforcement related. When it comes to safety messaging and marketing, we are in the midst of a national mobilization for impaired drivers. So DOT, NHTSA, and Wisconsin DOT are continuing their push for that and continuing the 2-track approach, so alcohol and non-alcohol related impaired driving. Those campaigns are underway and will go through the beginning of September. In September, we mentioned last time the National Passenger Safety Week, Child Passenger Safety Week, which is a campaign to educate people on proper use of child seats, booster seats, that kind of thing. And then the National Car Seat Check Saturday, where it culminates in that campaign to have the inspection stations set up and the technicians man those. And people can come in for free, get their car seats checked, and ensure they have the right type of seat for their child, as well as that they're installed correctly. And as I like to remind people, during that check, we find out that over half of the car seats that are installed are not installed correctly. So it's a good educational opportunity. Looking forward into the fourth quarter, from a national perspective, October, all the schools across the country are basically back in session. So a lot of attention being paid to those activities. So it is Pedestrian Safety Month in October. There's also National School Bus Safety Week, so campaigns about educating folks about safely navigating around school buses. In September, Wisconsin will actually start that campaign early because our schools are going back into session here fairly quickly. And then the week before Halloween is the traditional gear up for the holiday season for impaired driving campaigns. So starting at Halloween and working its way all the way through St. Patrick's Day of 2026, there'll be a number of national campaigns and mobilizations for law enforcement. You can see some of them that are down there, but we'll be bringing back the oldies but goodies, like the buzz driving is drunk driving campaign. If you feel different, you drive different. There's also a couple of seatbelt campaigns that are going on during that time as well. So lots of opportunities to piggyback on top of the state and the feds as far as public education goes for traffic safety. Some updates for those of you who are using Community Maps. There are some things that were rolled out at the governor's conference as far as announcements, and I'll show you these live here in a moment. We've got some new data layers that are added on there for you to be able to use in your traffic safety efforts. One of which is a law enforcement traffic stop layer, where it shows warnings and citations that were issued by law enforcement. We've got 32 different entities that are part of the pilot project right now. And we've had a soft launch of that data layer, and it shows you the stops that they've made. So we can start marrying up where our enforcement efforts are happening and where crashes are happening, and see where those two meet. If we're doing our traffic enforcement in the right locations, we can also, and I'll show you, we can specify by the type of traffic crash. I'm sorry, the type of traffic stop. So if you're looking at impaired driving or speed related, that kind of thing. We also have a Safe Roads Challenge layer where we are taking, I had talked before about the Trip Score app that's on your phone. That's been rebranded now to the Safe Roads Challenge. That information is being downloaded to the parent company, and then we get the Wisconsin-specific information so we can look at risky driving behaviors that don't necessarily result in a crash. And they will take where clusters of those are happening and combine them so we can look at where those pre-crash behaviors are happening. County profiles have been updated, so the 2022 through 24 data has been uploaded onto the county profile. So our county's got our document updated as well. It's a good summary of traffic and traffic behavior in the county as far as when crashes are happening, what type of crashes are happening, time of day, day of week, specific for us. A lot of agencies like to use that for annual reports and that kind of stuff. So those are updated. And now we have, for the first time, travel profiles been added to that. So those are on community maps as well. That's one of the holes that we've had in the system, is not having those pockets of tribal information, not having that information on the website for us. So now we've got to push to be better at including as much data as we can. So those profiles have been created and are on community maps. And then we have a highway system flag. So now if you're interested in particular data about just local roads or just county highways or whatever it happens to be, you can parse that data out and you can select that. So if it's of interest to you, that is available. As always, we have the Community Maps virtual office hours the second Monday of every month. If you go through Community Maps and you have questions or whatever, feel free to join us in a Zoom call. Sometimes we have a lot of questions and whatnot, and sometimes we don't have any. And there'll be a few people online, but we're all just working in the background. It's that informal hour where we just allow ourselves to ask and answer questions. And then for the educational piece for us, doesn't really apply in our county here, but I want to show you a little bit of the Community Maps data as we go to show you what else has been done. This Zoom thing on my screen, it's showing, it's in the way, so I don't want to let that interrupt me. So I showed you about the traffic stop information. Like I said, there are only selected agencies that are doing it right now. But if we look at a little bit down south, this is Portage County. You can see the crashes that they've got year to date. I can take a look at their traffic stop information, and I can not only look at that county, and I can look at any type of special campaign. So if they're doing traffic enforcement on grants, or if they have people out on overtime, I can look at that. I've got the highway system breakout, but I've also got the type of offenses. So if I'm only interested in, for instance, speed-related offenses, I can select that, and we can look at speed offenses and then be able to show where the traffic enforcement is happening regarding speed. There it is right there. I'm going to get rid of not only are these the speed related, but they're also the crashes that have occurred. That's what's happening in the background. But each one of these stops, each one of these pins is a speed related offense that's happened since near the beginning of the year. And as an example, here's a speed-related offense. It tells you if a citation or warning was issued, what the offense was, et cetera. So good information there if you want to see how our enforcement efforts are mirroring up with our crashes. I also told you about the Safe Roads Challenge data layer, so we can take a look at that. There we go. So for instance, in the same county, these red dots are all clusters where there is a dangerous driving behavior that's been captured by the company. So for instance, here at the intersection of I-39 and Highway 10, we've had 481 recorded accounts of unsafe acceleration. So people mostly getting off of the interstate, getting onto Highway 10. There is some visibility issues there, so drivers definitely get on the accelerator to get up to speed and be able to cut into the traffic. So that's been identified as a problem area. If I click on other ones, here's another acceleration issue. I know that there's a speed issue, 246 events captured of unsafe speed. So it takes those unsafe driving behaviors, and if there's enough of them, they'll cluster them together. And then you can look at problem areas before the crashes start to happen. So that's always a good thing to be proactive if we can. So those are the changes to community maps. And as always, I leave our contact information first at the Bureau. I'm happy to announce that we do have a regional program manager now for the north half of the state. I told you last time that that person had left. Dave Doms is coming over from another part of BOT. So as somebody who is familiar with the system, for all the grants that they're going to be doing, they're basically grant managers, grant specialists. He is going to be able to bring himself up to speed very quickly, and he may even come to the next TSC meeting just to introduce himself. But he will be contacting all of his agencies that have money coming in from BOTS and introducing himself. And then my contact information, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. That's how you get a hold of me anytime, and I will be more than happy to help you out with that. Not specifically on the agenda, but we do have one fatal in the second quarter to discuss. Sheriff, you want to do that now? Okay, as long as I'm here. We did have one fatal in April. This one happened on April 18th. It was a single vehicle crash. Vehicle heading eastbound on Highway B, veered off the road for unknown reasons, rolled over, and the driver was ejected. The narrative says that the driver was not wearing any seatbelt. The report itself says unknown, so not sure. No alcohol or drugs were reported, so not exactly sure why the vehicle left the roadway. The report did say unknown distraction, so kind of have to leave that up to your imagination. But when I took a look at that area on Highway B, this is a 5-year crash history. That's the third fatal we've had on that curve in 5 years. There was also an injury crash earlier this year on that same curve. So if you go and you take a look at that location, you can see the curve there. There's no indications for, there are no warning signs there as far as the curve goes. So sometimes it's hard to tell on a picture if it's warranted or not. But it's just kind of a.
Where's that at?
Yeah, where's that on B? That's what I'm thinking.
Between
W and Universal, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, east of Highway Y, or W, I'm sorry.
East of W?
Yeah, they're used to going straight, and then after W, it starts getting into those curves, and that's where these.
That guy just called me.
Yep.
So I just kind of came up with it. Yeah, so I drew this box just to capture all the crashes that happened within there in case some were a little off, but that might be something that we take a look at as far as some proactive measures as far as signage goes or something like that, because I noticed that there is none. And there are no edge line rubble strips or anything like that. So this just may be something to put on the radar for a look at.
We gotta look at it. They did request us, instead of, what if that situation?
I didn't think it would.
It wouldn't,
I
but,
explained,
yeah.
I explained to him how speed studies work, how you're involved.
Yeah.
Do you know though what's the radius, did you look at the radius of the curve though, this is from the design?
No, I haven't, we just talked about this last week.
Okay.
And I was down there yesterday.
So that's something to think about, so just look at the design
Right.
curve radius, and if it's lower, then. Okay.
And there are some low cost countermeasures too that can happen as well, besides adjusting the speed. So things like chevrons or a night arrow, depending on the findings out there. So it was just interesting that that there have been some crashes there. So that's something definitely to take note of. Otherwise, no other glaring reasons for that particular fatality to happen. Just the history of the crashes there. So 5 crashes within 5 years, 3 of them being fatals. I think that's probably worthy of our attention. Yeah. Yeah. Sheriff, I don't know if you want anything else on that. Have any other comments?
That's like the comment we get at the office,
Yeah.
that's amazing, so you know how it is, right? And then what that all entails if you were to truly do that?
But Highway 2770 by Jibble Street, you gotta redo it.
We're already getting complaints now for roads that were just redone
Oh, wow.
because of speed. So I said to people, I already got a phone call from the property owner, I said, you just called me last year because it was in rough shape. And I said, now you're calling me because of speeds. I said, now what do you want?
Yeah.
I said, I don't care, that's fine, I'll take these phone calls. I said, just realize what you just asked for. Now you got it. And now you got something else, that's a problem.
Can't have it both ways.
Correct.
One little strip at the driveways.
That's right. So this is every day.
They want to smooth, when it's smooth, people go fast.
And that's what we had a TSC meeting yesterday, and they were just commenting how speeds are manageable when the road's not perfect. And now they're already nervous, the county's already nervous because of the speed that it's gonna, how it's gonna change. And I said, you better be ready, because I said, it's nuts.
And everybody's in a hurry.
100%, yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to roundtable discussion. Mr. Haney.
You know what I'm gonna ask you?
That tree.
Do you have any pull with the electric company?
We talked to them, they're supposed to let us know, and they're gonna come up and cut it. We're just gonna throw it in the dump truck for them.
Cause that last storm that come through, we lost power for like 5 hours. And there was a tree on that, it wasn't that one, but it was another one right in that area.
Yep, no, we talked, our.
I'm just gonna, I mean, that's.
I tip was, yeah.
Street, if that thing ever goes down, so that was. Cause it's kind of a dip and a curve there, so it's in a bad spot.
Yeah, but we won't touch it because it'll be in the power lines, but we talked to them and they said, yeah, cut it. And been on this.
I thought maybe when they cut the other one, it's a dollar problem.
I mean, I can cut it, but we'll be without power.
That's that happens enough with us. That's all right.
Thank you. Mr. Weaver.
Not much on our end, we're clearing right ways and finishing up some project on the reservation. We're good.
Okay.
We're making much of two of our data. So one of them.
You may want to hit your feet, that this may be recorded.
Is my light on now? Okay. So we've included the apartments and the new dorms in one of our routes. And then another one of the routes, it's going to include Quick Trip, over by Snap Fitness and North Lakes Community Clinics. So we're excited for that. That'll start September 2nd. That's all I have.
So I was asked to bring up, Susie mentioned last meeting, our staffing issues. Since then, everybody's back for training. Added 3 new recruits to the academy right now. We'll be continuing in early October. Starting that fuel phase. We got a new update with some of our departments. We're adding, 12 more flock cameras. They're in the making right now, waiting for them to be installed. I have a few live motion cameras at some parks in our communities, and then also more LPR cameras being put up too as well. The other thing she wanted me to bring up is earlier this summer there was a lot of complaints of the speed on Highway Double C through the Newcoast community in that sharp 90-degree corner. I put our radar trailer up there for a while, but people kept going down there and changing the speed limit on my radar trailer because everybody believes it's 25 through there. The closest speed limit on Highway Double C is 55, but there's advisory signs at the corner saying slow down with 10, 50 miles an hour, but everybody believes that's the speed limit. So there's been several complaints to our department about changing the speed limit to the Newcoast community on Highway Double C, and like, well, there's a process to go through that, and it's not the police department. We told tribal council that they need to make a request to the county highway department to look at the speed to the Newcoast community, so I don't know if that's been done. So far, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, I'll just mention too, in case not everybody's aware, Sean Anderson has been promoted to Assistant Chief with the LCO Police Department, so welcome.
Hey, Billy.
Trooper. You generate on other forms and fashions. Sounds good, thank you. Dan?
Sheriff, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank everyone for pushing the TSC back, the date for today's meeting back a week, which we agreed to earlier, and that was to accommodate the governor's conference on highway safety. And amongst at least the 6 counties that I do this week up here, there were a lot of folks that were allowed to go to the meeting. So thank you very much for adjusting your schedules to accommodate us. Sorry I didn't see any of you down there at the conference, except Aaron.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll go back to John McHugh on stakeholders, and we'll give him some shock factor here. Anything you have with the city? Okay.
I'm Aaron Christ, Wisconsin Department of Transportation, traffic engineer. Couple things just to touch base on, kind of relating to the last meeting was whether it's utility permits, any work within our right of way, right? There's a submittal process, and then if there's traffic and traffic control involved as well, they submit a traffic control layout to us. And if there's issues with that, or they don't have the understanding of what a traffic control layout is, then I'm able to work with them. What we're receiving right now is just tons of complaints, not only from the general public, even in other counties, just not using the proper equipment. We had another meeting yesterday, kind of got wind of something. I went over there. Signs, cones, they were tattered, they weren't the right color, it was old, it was very unsafe. So kind of relating to the last meeting too, right? Any of you guys, if you guys don't feel comfortable, workers don't feel comfortable, we can shut them down on that, okay? We're gonna have an incident, we're gonna have a project coming up next week in a different county. They recommended one way for traffic control. I couldn't see it happening a certain way. I kind of worked with them a little bit because they don't want to do a flagging operation. And I think one of the main reasons was cost, and they're not certified to flag. But we basically pushed the flagging operation down a little bit, kind of from the area where we're kind of more concerned about. And then they're going to do a diverging lane. But I still think we're gonna have issues with it. So I'm gonna go there on Tuesday just to review it to make sure that it's done properly. But one thing for you guys as a whole, county, whatever, is, yeah, it might add more cost, from a standpoint if we're gonna do flag it, or if people aren't certified, you gotta get them certified. Because when I make that phone call to you guys and I say, hey, I think the best operation here is a flagging operation due to all that's involved. That's a recommendation that I have. We can definitely work together on it, but for the most part, with how much I've seen so far, someone's gonna get killed if we're gonna do it a different way, So just something to think about moving forward on this, because, I mean, they come in hot and heavy, right? And we review it and, people are trying to cut corners, and in the end, when people are cutting corners, it doesn't work out the way they want to. So something to think about on that. Another thing is, I don't know, for Hayward in general, that's kind of just as a general question. I know we're dealing with for other counties is just crosswalks in general. People aren't stopping, right? And people are getting hit and we're getting phone calls on it. So again, you guys, we can work together on it from the standpoint of some additional signage, but we don't know what else that can really be done, right? It's just the general driver isn't stopping for someone on a crosswalk. There's no awareness or no care that these people are in a crosswalk and trying to cross. So just something to think about as you're moving forward in this, because it's a monster problem right now. And another one is just stop signs in general, not necessarily on our roads where they're approaching our state highways, but they're blowing through stop signs. And they're just asking kind of us, other counties, what more can they do, right? Because it's a straight stretch. It's fairly simple, right? Someone's coming up to a stop sign, looking both ways and going. I don't know if they're 100 feet back and they're already looking both ways and just giving her, but something to think about from that standpoint, whether you think about putting rumble strips in, putting in additional signage, putting in the flashing red stop sign, this would have to be on your guys' roads, not compared to our state highway stuff, intersections approaching state highways, but just something to think about for that too. So, that's what I got for that. Is there any other questions for me from a DOT side?
I'm just gonna say thanks for sharing the utility safety plan process.
Yep.
And if we can help or you need us to help, we're there.
Okay.
We don't want to see somebody get hurt or killed, and there is a concern with some of these utility companies on their process, and especially the subcontracted ones.
100%.
That's the biggest
It
thing,
is.
and there's getting to be more and more of that
Right.
with the shortage of workers.
Yeah.
And the inexperience and the lack of knowledge they have on the safety side of things is going to steer us all in that safety concern.
Yep. So if there's no questions for me, you have my name, number, so please get a hold of me. It's no big deal if you guys got questions. So, okay.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Chief.
And probably transition right off that because the Chamber of Commerce called me in July and they're right on Main Street 63. And they already tell you about those, they have these orange flags that they use during Muskie Fest for people to hold and carry across the street before they cross to go down between the event. They asked my permission to leave them out all summer for people crossing the road. They've been using it. I don't know if you ever had an issue with that or anything.
Just someone's grabbing the flag and walking.
Yep,
across
and they have
that
two
way.
buckets on both sides of 63 and they, once they cross it, put the flag back on the other side for someone else to use. So
Do they seem more comfortable with it?
seems like, and it seems like people are using it too.
Okay.
So
It does
You know.
increase the
It
visibility.
does,
of
it
that.
does, like that would be the case, obviously.
Yep,
So
yep.
not everybody uses them, but
No.
they've helped so far, I
Yeah.
think.
My kids would take one and sprint around.
Yeah.
There must be fast station, 2 or 3 officers at that intersection now.
Yeah.
And the year that the chief at that time come up with that idea with the commerce about putting those flags out there, they assigned me by myself to that intersection, very much fast. And I saw a great improvement because people waited in the
Yeah.
flags as they're crossing, drivers paid attention more.
But you're also there too, right? You're saying?
I was there to assist,
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that's a presence that people get scared of, like in a good way.
didn't have a car,
Okay.
and I was in plain clothes that day, so they kind of put me a little undercover
Oh, nice.
to see how the.
Yeah, okay,
work.
good, okay.
And I know the crosswalk signs up above are a great addition too, but boy, yeah, those places, they really helped,
We stuck a squad car in the middle of the median at Main and 63 too, and just let the lights go on all day pretty much, and somebody's there with it. Slow people down, but
Yeah.
that's just a crazy intersection for any event that we have in the city when it comes to pedestrians. Yeah. Go, go, go.
And one of the concerns with that sometimes is people are in a hurry and then they get focused on the squad and they're not watching for pedestrians. And the squad almost diverts their attention in the wrong direction.
Mm.
And you know, everybody's different and looks at it differently. And that one person or several people that are not paying attention to the pedestrians, that's where that tragedy happens.
Yeah. Pros and cons to both sides, I guess.
Yep.
But the other bad intersection that we have now is Michigan 63, where Quick Trip exit entrances. We've had a couple accidents there this year already, and I don't know how we're ever gonna correct that because there's a backup 2, 3, 4 cars pretty much all day long there if you're trying to exit the parking lot, trying to get back on 63 to go northbound. So it is what it is, I guess.
At least it's not at the intersection anymore.
That's true.
That's what we're dealing with for another thing.
Oh, really?
That's where they wanted it.
Well, it is what it is. Otherwise, we have no other pedestrian areas or any issues like that, I guess. I was gonna bring up last time we were here, I brought up the flock cameras. We had 6 of them at the time, and now we only have 3 because 3 of those flock cameras expired for the free trial. So we're down to 3 now, and we're coming up to budget season. And I was told I'm just wasting my breath if I ask for any more than 2. So I know we all met the stakeholders at Spooner PD a few years ago with all the other law enforcement agencies, and we wanted 6 cameras specifically in Hayward because all roads lead to Hayward. And I don't know if we're gonna quite have 6 of them, so I don't know how we're gonna get around that, Sheriff, or maybe the township can pick up a couple of them. With the township, I guess I can bring up they are gonna keep the PD and keep that full-time position. So hopefully next time we all meet, somebody will be here sitting in John Kosterman's seat to represent the town of Hayward PD. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else.
2 is better than none.
Yep. Yep.
It is helpful, and I think 63 is probably the best, and especially, you know, out on B with LCOs having so many, that's helpful out there. 27 South probably will not be covered as much, but it does on the Washburn County side because we've had some coordination there working together. So that's a good thing, but
Yeah. Otherwise, for road closures, we have the Fat Tire coming up, so we'll have Main Street 63 blocked off, and then out towards Wheeler Road into the county. I'm sure we're gonna have roads closed off for some parades coming up for homecoming and the Christmas parade and stuff like that. Otherwise, summer's ending for us, and I'm relieved for it.
that flock camera up there on 63 and Highway 2 has been very successful on missing people, and 2 or 3 missing people it's located, and I think even a stolen vehicle. So they are helpful.
Our cameras are the ones that caught the suspect for that house that was shot on Cozy Acres, just south of the county line on 63. So,
Yep,
we've used them here in Hayward too.
yep.
What I can get, I know that, I don't know if you have a camera there at Flock right now, but at Highway E and 27 intersection, tribe owns that property. That might be a place where the tribe could place a camera in the city of Hayward.
Yeah, because we had one on B kind of by White Birch Lane, and then on 27 down by those storage units with the blue roofs on it. And we didn't have one right at 27 and B, but that's a good idea. It's something maybe we can meet about later with Susie, Sean, and Jason, and go from there. Yeah.
Good discussion. Commissioner?
Just a couple updates on the County B construction project. That should be wrapping up September 30th. I know it's tight through there with the barrels and everything, but they should be done with the curbs and be able to move them back a little bit, maybe. CC Bridge starting September 8th with expected end date of October 24th. That'll be completely shut down. Detour will be through H-double-C out towards Landing and then coming down CC out of Coudray. So that'll be shut down for a good month. Getting back to the new post that you brought up, that was me and Brian that changed the speed limit signs. We didn't know who Speed Trailer it was. My phone blew up Friday morning. People were saying, why is it 55 through new post? I think I called you. We finally found out who Speed Trailer it was. Brian Bissonette and I, we did change the signs because it was right next to the advisory sign with a 55 and 35. So anyway, I met with the TGB. I got a drawing. We're gonna go out and hopefully Jason can go out with me here very shortly and flag a bunch of trees out there that we're gonna remove. I'm putting in a three-way stop there with the current existing road condition as is this year, which I was gonna talk about that. So it'll be stop ahead and stop signs there until we can identify funding opportunity or something to actually make it straight. But already got the paint grinder lined up. We're gonna grind all the paint out of there, repaint it, sign it this year. So it's in the works. So one other thing, that Connors Creek that we talked about last week, that's gonna be one lane all winter. There's 30 million set aside in funding, and it's just not in my budget right now to try to rip that out and replace it. It's gonna be fine for the winter, so that's expected to be completed next year. And then I do want to talk with you that 2770 County E and F intersection. We did have another accident there last night. I think that's something we need to look at. We've had quite a few accidents there, right at Midway. Yeah, if you can bring it up, we can probably see on community maps.
On that.
Yep.
Your point.
It is limited visibility there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how many we've had there, but it seems like this summer we've had a few there this summer, haven't we?
Over the years, yeah, we've had, that has been a higher risk area there.
Yeah, so I get actually a lot of phone calls at the highway department from G2 down past Sand Lake to that next intersection of why it's 55 miles an hour through there. I said, I talked to the state on it, but they're wondering if there's any possible way to reduce the speed through there. And I said, I'll let you guys know. From 70
From where to where?
to E and F intersection. I can show you as soon as he
There
pulls
you
it up.
go.
here. Right there where 70 kicks out, where it goes to Stone Lake,
Yep,
down to the next county intersection.
right
Right
there.
there,
Yep,
that section.
So people are asking for that entire stretch to be lower.
Yes, because everybody has their house on the opposite side of the lake and everybody's walking across the road because all the docks are on the opposite side. And there's tons of,
So, I mean, so, I mean, if the township and you, would be on board where you feel like it's a safety issue. I mean, I can definitely, it's gotta be a written letter from me. I can go ahead and do that. I'll tell you one, which I'm fine with doing. Same municipality, ask for the same thing, 40 miles per hour zone, asked me to lower it, and I did 4 different stretches. It's basically the same exact scenario, except that it's, this one would be 55. The average speed at those 4 areas was 46 miles per hour. So,
Yeah.
which I've said, right there, from that standpoint, that would be an enforcement. When you see these curves and all that, there was nothing, and I went back to look at old asphalt. And, nothing warranted from that standpoint, from a curve radius. So, but
And I see what you're saying. I get the phone call all the time. Everybody wants a speed study all over the
Yeah.
entire country.
yeah, well, which for you, like I was telling, for you, it's a little different because you can go to the township and you yourself can say, yes, I think it's warranted. No different than kind of for me, but for me, it's just me, so it's taxpayer money. Like for you, you can fall back and go to the township, but that's fine, I'll do it, that's $300. Because if they were to hire someone other than you, or if they were to hire someone than me, you're talking thousands.
I think the one down in Birch was like, $12,000.
Yep, correct, so it's just something, and it's fine, it's something that I can do, but just be aware of what could happen based on it. And
Not warranted.
That's correct, in our studies, there's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that is normal traffic. Not weekend traffic.
Right.
So at this intersection here, do you think some contributing factors, obviously visibility is an issue, but then the F comes in there at an angle rather than at a 90 perpendicular. Do you think there's some blind spot issues there when people pull out?
There is, they're set up, you know, you E and F, that's a big, I don't know how else you would sign that.
Well, I see, that's,
You know,
yeah, so we got a phone call probably a couple weeks ago regarding the stop sign, and when you approach an intersection, right? What do? You move your vehicle a hair forward or a hair back, make that adjustment. It's not that there is a spot for you to stop at.
Yep.
You just make the adjustment yourself.
Yep.
So this is what I was telling another person on it, and I said, no different than anything else. Something's in the way, you're gonna do something to avoid it, right?
It's all right to move ahead and make another stop to clear. Yeah, yeah.
Stay there where you typically have to stop, right? So,
And I'm not sure what happened here last night, you guys, but it looked like it was three of them, they all looked like they ran in same side of each other, right? I don't remember.
It looked like failure to see.
Oh, what was it?
Failure to see, you see the truck coming.
Oh, so he pulled out?
Yeah,
That's what happened?
Yeah, pull off, he was up on that.
Oh, I got you.
I know we had this angle issue on 77 and K in Mosquito Brook, and they squared the corner off.
yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
I'm pretty squared off. It's just maybe a
Yeah,
trees.
Yes.
And the map makes it look more angled than it really appears to be angled when you're at that intersection. Yep.
Last Thursday, we moved one on the, site. What did we have for crash? Quite a few or?
Show in the last 5 years,
That seems like this one.
Yeah, it does seem like there's
That's
more.
why. Those guys are
All the
all.
roads.
Yeah, not mine. Mine's got an engine. Oh.
obviously we wouldn't have yesterday's.
Right.
Right.
It just seems like there's a lot more because we're always, well, I suppose we're always picking up the stop sign, don't we? People run over it.
But yeah, just let me know, you know, I've definitely talked to other people, see what you want, if something you want done, I can squeeze it in before winter, that way. Otherwise, if from a standpoint of if there hasn't real recent development or anything that kind of changed from a characteristic standpoint, then I'd be a little bit more.
Almost as bad as going in and out of the P two, that by the cast.
Yeah,
That's underneath this P zone.
Yep. That's what we're.
Yep.
Yeah, I still, people pull out of the gas station, people try it, seen it, I go home now. See it quite often.
Anything else? Chief?
National Night Out was a huge success. I think we estimated about 500 people showed up. That following Saturday, we took 25 kids fishing. The rain kind of settled in on us, but the kids had fun. Gave away a lot of prizes and stuff. We have 3 more festivals coming up. So we got the Trout Fest this weekend, Cranberry Fest on the 4th of October, and then Fat Tire coming up. So that would probably wind out our events for the year. And already planning for next year's Berkey.
I have nothing. outside of the fact that this year sure seemed to go fast. Yeah, so. With that, we'll close the roundtable discussion. Any other issues of concern or anything anybody wants to bring up? We'll confirm the date for the next quarterly meeting. What is the third? Is that during hunting season in November?
Week after.
The week,
We're the
week before? Okay, perfect. That'll work. November 19th? Sounds good. With that, nothing else on the agenda. We'll go ahead and adjourn.